4th of February 2021. I've decided to vlog this journey. I've actually been looking for a new horse for, I want to say 8 months or more. I still want to pursue dressage. Probably not going to get to Grand Prix anytime soon. But something that that's put together well. It's got a very sensible and sane brain that wants to do the work. It's trainable. And man, it's difficult. Even with a decent budget, I'm finding that right now, it seems like just the cost of horses in general is really expensive. Trying a few, I've tried, you know, it's several. Always never just working out. Either the horse wasn't quite right in some way, it wasn't suited to me, or ones that I really liked, and there was a couple. I had huge thought that I found the one, and then huge disappointments, either the seller changing their mind or something else like that happening. And it has just been an ordeal. I made the decision recently that I am going to buy a youngster. Bear in mind, I've never had a youngster before. I'm pretty knowledgeable about horses, but I've had a long gap. I've been back about 4 years now in the saddle. I've worked with young horses before. I understand the thinking of a horse and the way they work, but I've never actually owned a young horse before. But I've decided that I'm going to get a youngster, going to go through the process of doing all the groundwork, and with the help and support of some amazing friends, people that I have in this industry to support me, we are going to produce our own. I am going to take you guys with me on the journey to, number one, find that special one, and the process that we go through. Part of this was struck because I found one. It's only a 2-year-old, so it's gonna have quite a bit of time before we're able to ride it. I have to lose weight. Like, I had an accident last year. I piled on a ton of weight, and realistically, I need to lose at least 2 stone in order to be able to do this as well. So it's gonna give me the time to get back down to a fit and healthy weight while we get this little one ready for the job. I've been thinking about it for a while, and then a few people tried to talk me out of it, and I saw one the other day that I really like. Fingers crossed. We're having her vetted on Thursday. She is in Inverness. It's 7.5 hours drive away, and it's minus 10 degrees there right now. But I want to just get a feel for her energy, how she is in her natural surroundings before we take her out of that. So I'm going to go meet the vet there. And then if all of that goes well, we could be starting this journey realistically next week. Here we go on the journey of finding Lisa her new dancing partner. So this is the filly that I've seen. She's a 2-year-old registered Oldenburg. She is sired by the Grand Prix Dressage Stallion Foundation. He's very well known for his good quality offspring, having a very good temperament and a trainable brain. And as you can see, she is very sweet. So off we go on our long 7.5 hour journey from Huddersfield to about an hour and a half north of Inverness. It was really cold, it was snowing, but the roads were clear. And in Inverness, it was something like minus 20 degrees. But at this point, I had put a deposit down, pending vetting. And with all the disappointments that we'd had, I did not want to hang around. The plan is if she passes the vetting, we'll bring her home. Morning. I'm being quiet because there's someone upstairs. Liz, that I'm traveling with. It is Thursday the 15th of February. I'm in Blairgowrie, and it's like somewhere between Perth and Dundee. We're staying in this beautiful Airbnb. Outside it's like literally like a little castle, but look at the staircase. So this is a little turret, and the bedrooms go off of it. It's very sweet. We're driving up to Inverness. This small issue. By the way, look how beautiful this place is. Anyway, horse box frozen solid, won't start, had to call recovery. I'm just hoping that they can get through that. Otherwise we're on a rooftop where you could have a coffee. Whoop. And an amazing little seating area in the turret. Look at this view up here. Gorgeous. Said poorly horse box that we're hoping just needs a battery surge. Praying. And the vet's delayed because she had a colic incident 2C2, so everything sometimes works out for a reason, doesn't it? We've stacked on the log burner. It's minus 10 degrees here. I don't think I've ever been anywhere that was minus 10 degrees. He's just rung recovery to say he'll be here in 10-15 minutes, and then fingers crossed we're gonna make it. Yay, it was just the battery, and we get set off way behind because it took him a while to get into the battery. But the idiot that I am, in the sat nav I put in the shortcut instead of the main roads, and we end up going through the national park. The roads have not been gritted, and this doesn't even give it any justice. This was sheet black ice covered with a dusting of snow. So we're having to go incredibly slow. This goes on for maybe an hour and a half. I'm starting to get really worried. It's getting worse. It started snowing, but eventually we head on back out and get to the main road, thank goodness. And I've actually left this in because I couldn't really explain how difficult this journey was, how many obstacles we were faced with, and how many times I nearly said, forget it, let's just go home. But for some reason, I just kept going. I'm looking back at this and think, what were you doing? But now I am so glad we did, because it was so worth it. So thankfully we make it out to the, I think it's the A9, I could be wrong, or that runs up to Inverness. And this road is gritted and it is clear, so we get to make up some headway on the clear roads. It is so beautiful. It is literally like driving through the Alps up here. I've never seen anything like it. This footage doesn't do it any justice at all. But I forget my sat nav is still on the shortcut route, and we take a turn off too early. There was a shorter route across the Highlands, which obviously in this weather you don't want to be doing. But at this point, I am tired, I'm exhausted, and we make a mistake. And this, I cannot even tell you the journey from hell that this has been. 30 minutes away from arriving, we get to this. At this point, the vet had called. She said there was something else that needed looking into, and I just looked at Liz and said, should we just turn around and go home? But we didn't. We went back to the main road and carried on. I've been waiting for a minute to do an update, so excuse the noise. I wanted to, if the noise allows me to, take a moment just to update you on what's going on. So we drove all the way to Inverness. The vet, we were supposed to meet there at 12:30 that day, but obviously with the conditions and getting delayed, we didn't meet the vet there. The vet went ahead, and then we drove up after because I wanted to put eyes on her. The vet cleared her. There was one question she wanted to have looked over, so I should know today whether we're going to have her or not. I didn't film while we were there, one, because oh my gosh, it was like nearly minus 18 degrees at night when we got there. It had been a very long day. I didn't know for sure if we were having her, and I didn't want to make a video and tape it all if it didn't end up going through, out of respect for the owners. Today is Tuesday the 23rd of February. It's a very exciting day because the mare passed her vetting. The vet wasn't sure if she had an opaque lens, and so she had to have the eye specialist, and the eye specialist came with 2 eye specialists, and she's absolutely fine. So they have to deliver a mare to somewhere like West Midlands, like a bit further down, Gloucestershire way today. And so they're going to bring her down. I'm going to meet them in Chorley, which is like Lancashire, and pick her up. So exciting. Today's also a really exciting day because our company is launching a new product, which is an immune boosting daily drink, which has zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D, elderberry. Oh, what a great product to be having in these times to ensure that our immune system is functioning and well. So it's only going to be available in North America to start with, but I'm sure we'll be able to get our hands on some. Yes, I'll try and film as much of today as possible. Obviously she's a youngster, she's never been in a box before, and then we have to transfer her to mine, so it's going to be all hands on deck to make sure that that goes smoothly. Here we go, let's go get baby Fern. We're here in Chorley at the service station waiting for Miss Thing to come down there in her transport. I think they're about 10-15 minutes away. It's been really windy, and he's had to go 30 miles an hour in some areas coming down from Scotland. It was also quite hairy coming over by Rochdale on the highest part of the M62. Was a little bit scary, so I'm hoping it's calmed down a bit. She's never travelled before, but after having a couple of minutes to think about it on the ramp, she went straight on, and apparently has just stood eating hay the whole time. So hopefully she's as cooperative to swap over onto our box. I doubt I'll get to film any of that. It's going to take all hands on deck to make sure that we transition her safely, which is way more important than anything else. But hopefully she'll be here soon. She's coming. And here she is. She loaded really well onto the box. I think she was just too tired at that point to really care. And she travels like a little dream. She's not even tied up. She just has some hay on the floor. And even like when the ambulance goes flying past with the lights and alarm going, as you can see there, she doesn't even flinch. And yeah, she gets home, she gets off the box and doesn't seem phased much at all. Bless her. Oh, back up, Mama. As said, he's a little bit unsure about his neighbour being so friendly with his mum, isn't he? Eh? Don't worry, he'll grow on you. He did on me. Good girl. She's been an app. Oh, I can't even see her because she don't want to leave her side. You're just going to follow me? Eh? I was trying to show your mum how well you're doing. Oh yes, you put him in his place. He didn't want her to drink from the water trough, but she soon told him, I don't care, I'm going to drink anyway, bless her. She's been an absolute angel. Travelled really well, got off box perfectly well, came in stable, made friends with everybody, and she's just been here like she's been here every day. Haven't you? Huh? Good girl. That's her other neighbour, Clipper. She's not bothered at all, is she? Alright, we'll leave you to settle in then. See you in the morning. She just wants to follow you around, bless her. Good girl. Good girl. Go on, in you go. Sid's grown 2 feet. Sid doesn't need ever to grow 2 feet. What are you looking at? This is the next morning and she's been absolutely fine. She hasn't really stressed at all. She's been pawing a little bit And when you come outside the stable, she'll stand there and paw looking for some attention. But other than that, she has been very, very, very sweet. Really bad at doing updates, but this is, let me show you. I stood all the way back here with the door open. And I know some of you are thinking, well, she's eating her hay, but she's so into people. As soon as the door opens, she wants to be at the door, but she's learnt that the door can be wide open and she's not allowed to crowd it. She has to stay away, which is really cool. You can see now she's come to see me, but such a good girl. So the yard there where we were at this point didn't have the winter turnout for her to be able to go out, so this was just a few minutes in the outdoor arena. She'd been in for days, and oh my gosh, I was so glad that we got to do this, because you can tell she really, really needed to just run around and let off some steam. Do make the decision to move back to a yard that I've been at before, so as you can see here, I start practicing loading so that we can get her on the box and travel her to the new yard, which happens within a few weeks of her arriving. The yard we're at now has a round pen, a small indoor arena or outdoor arena. She would have shared turnout with Sid the whole time, and it just was a better decision for what she needed at that point. And as you can see, she's so cooperative. She loads straight away. She had a little resistance the very, very first time, but after she knew, like, that's not the answer, you need to come with me and get on, she just then kept coming on. And she's continued to load really well. She recently had a little bit of time just thinking about going on, never refused to. But yeah, she's always been pretty good. She's pretty good at everything that we've done. As you'll watch the other videos, you'll see she's very, very trainable and has a really good temperament. She is a tester and she does test all the time, but as long as she knows that's not the answer, she is usually then just cracks on with it. Here we have arrived at the new yard. This is the round pen. I'm not supposed to have her loose in here. I didn't actually realise at the time, but this was just before spring turnout. Hello. And she hadn't been out, as I said, for a while. I didn't want to put her in the winter fields because they were still quite frozen, hard and rutty from the season, as they usually are at the end of winter. I didn't want to risk her little legs running around in a new field like that for the first time. So we waited for the spring turnout, which was a couple of weeks. So I just kept her hand walking, letting her go in the little turnout pens, and we started some free schooling training in here so she could get a little bit of exercise. Sweet girl. Nah. You get them. Oh. No, you can't pester for them. Don't they say something about if a horse can roll all the way over, or so many times, that they're a good one? I don't know how true that is, but she has a good old roll here. It's probably the first chance she's really had chance to do so freely without being in the stable for a long time. And this is her first time out in the field with Sid. I was so scared. Sid is massive, big, strong horse. She is so tiny compared to him. And I was very worried, so we took it very slow, but they have been best buddies. He absolutely loves her. They're still now busy mates. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned to follow our journey.